The long-awaited dream of many Ukrainians of visa-free regime with the EU can be put on ice once again. 48 members of parliament, mostly members of the opposition bloc, have appealed to the Constitutional Court. They are allegedly very concerned with the severity of the new law on electronic declarations, which is one of the European Union's requirements for visa-free regime. Our journalist Sergii Andrushko found out that those same MPs who complained to the court have some serious problems with their own asset declarations. Some have forgotten to declare expensive real estate, while others have failed to declare businesses. In addition, the judges involved in the case might have some personal interest in declaring the law unconstitutional. Details are in today's story.
This is Member of Parliament Natalia Korolevska from the opposition bloc. Today she arrived to work at Verkhovna Rada in a fancy Range Rover. According to her asset declaration, Korolevska doesn't own any cars. That is probably the reason why she could not explain her relations to the car right away. Hello, Radio Svoboda, is this your car?
Do you want to ask what kind of car I drive?
Well, yes, is this your car?
What car?
The car you have just drove up in.
If you want to ask me something, go ahead and ask.
That car, the car you have arrived in, is it yours?
Excuse me? Ask the person behind the wheel. They drove me to work. I asked for a lift.
Lift with security?
Is it forbidden to give a lift to a girl? No, that wasn't my security. That was my dearest. Thank you very much.
The dearest one who was driving the elite car is Natalia Korolevska's husband, Yuri Solot, who is also a member of the parliament. Coincidentally, the Range Rover is not mentioned in his declaration either, nor any other vehicle. Perhaps the car may appear in this family's next declaration. This family of MPs is two of the 48 members of parliament that appealed to the Constitutional Court of Ukraine. These 48 members of parliament want the Constitutional Court to declare some articles of the law on electronic declaration for MPs and government officials as unconstitutional, especially the article on criminal liability up to 2 years for providing false information in declarations. Questions concerning the undeclared property or that of unknown origin arise not only with regard to Natalia Korolevska's family, but also other MPs who appealed to the Constitutional Court. So what is really at play here? A desire for a triumph of a rule of law, or to protect the prosperity and finances from public? What exactly do you disagree with in e-declaration?
The appeal was drafted by the lawyers of our faction along with my colleagues, and they argued that there are some technical errors that need to be contested. So you should better ask the head of our faction's legal unit, Yuri Voropaev. Thank you.
But can you name just a couple of articles that you don't agree with? For instance, another member of the opposition bloc, Dmitro Dobkin, has earned 10,066,000 last year. His salary is only 66,000, while the rest 10 million are declared as gifts, lottery winnings and prizes. Dmitro Dobkin is another one of the complainants to the Constitutional Court. Another complainant is Nestor Shufrich, an MP who has also declared more than 10 million in gifts, lottery winnings and prizes. You have declared 10 million hryvnias of gifts. You have specified 10 million in gifts.
I have a very simple answer. It's an unfinished house for my son, but he has decided to live in an apartment in Kiev and he gave me that house as a gift. So I am now finishing the construction and will live in that house.
One more of the 48 members of the parliament who appealed to the Constitutional Court is Anton Kisse, who was driven to the parliament today in a Range Rover. Excuse me, is this your car?
All of my cars are owned by me. Do you like it?
He has declared only his Porsche Cayenne. The MP explains why he would prefer the e-declaration to launch only next year.
I think that to start something right away, you need a certain amount of time. We need to postpone this at least for 1 year.
What do you need this year for?
To systemize it so people have the chance to prepare and understand that today you have to declare everything and every step you make needs to be declared, and society needs to be aware of this.
Wasn't this always the case?
It wasn't. Just look at what is happening with the offshore accounts and why this is happening. Why?
Do you have something in offshore accounts?
Everyone in this world has something.
Another very concerned one with the e-declaration is an MP from the opposition bloc, Serhiy Andrushko. Hello, Radio Svoboda, is this your car?
My wife's.
Wife's. And what is her occupation?
Entrepreneur.
What kind of business does she have?
What business? She does this and that, different things. Leases some property or something like that.
Alexander Vilkul, the former vice prime minister during the Yanukovych era. His name is also in the list of those who've signed the appeal for the cancellation of the e-declaration. His own declaration is also very ambiguous. He came to work in his Mercedes and he said that the car belongs to him. Is this your car?
We'll talk when it's election time.
Is this your car?
Yes, of course.
At the same time, his 2015 declaration clearly states that he doesn't own this vehicle. What does terrify members of the parliament so much about the e-declarations? They worry that it would break the constitutional principles of the rule of law, legality, individual responsibility and prohibition of interference with personal life. MPs propose that the Constitutional Court would cancel the need for them to declare their unfinished houses, cash resources, credits, loans and all of their expenditures. However, the judges of the Constitutional Court that are to rule on this case may potentially have a conflict of interest themselves, because they would also need to fill out these new declarations. Family of Alexander Kosminin, one of judges of the Constitutional Court, has 1,000 square meters of land property in Poltava. According to the registry, it's right here, on the Prozora street. However, this land that belongs to Judge's family is adjoined by another piece of land with an uncompleted two-store house on it. A local worker believes that one fence unites two owners who are friends.
There are two different owners with one fence.
Two? Why is that? Two owners or one?
No, two different. They must have done it jointly.
But are they different owners or not?
Yes, different.
If Judge's family is using this house or, for example, is paying for the construction, he would be obliged to mention this in his declaration. In any case, it is quite strange for owners to have one fence and do not use the property behind it. Activist Alexander Andrushko also mentions the potential conflict of interest for the judges.
The judges of the Constitutional Court may have a potential conflict of interest if, for instance, some of them possess property registered with their family members. Necessity to declare such property is one of the provisions which 48 MPs want to cancel, or if they have uncompleted real estate. This is another provision that former members of the Party of Regions want to cancel. So, if it is found out that some judges of the Constitutional Court are interested in cancellation of any of the regulations that affect them, then yes, that would be a potential conflict of interest.
Also, 48 members of parliament are asking the Constitutional Court to define as unconstitutional the article which allows the new National Agency on Prevention of Corruption, or NAPC, to verify the submitted declarations with the official governmental registers. They are also concerned that all declarations would be made public on one of the governmental websites. Sofia Kovac, expert of the UN Development Programme, watches closely for the decision of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine. The organization has helped with the electronic system of asset declaration.
If the Constitutional Court of Ukraine rules as unconstitutional the access for National Agency on Prevention of Corruption to the registries and open publication of declarations, this would automatically mean that, first of all, the agency would not be able to automatically verify declarations via property registries. Second, this would mean that citizens of Ukraine would not be able to openly access declarations of public officials in the future. Everything that we fought for so long, this long way from where we started in 2014 until today. And actually, this would all mean that we will not meet the requirements of the European Union for visa regime liberation.
Activist Alexandra Drik reminds that the Constitutional Court would be considering this important issue for all of society, while at the same time the General Prosecutor's Office has some questions to the very same judges who were making decisions in the days of President Yanukovych.
At least 6 of them have been under investigation of the General Prosecutor's Office during 2 years.
The judge of the Constitutional Court, Mikhailo Gultai, can be congratulated with a great deal, who purchased a 2007 Lexus for 149,000 hryvnias. On car sale websites, the same models are sold for at least twice as much. Ruslan Ryabushapka is a member of the new National Agency on Prevention of Corruption that will verify the declarations of government officials, MPs and judges. Ryabushapka is giving his statement in the new office that is not yet equipped. He thinks that there is a threat of cancellation of a number of provisions of the e-declarations which have not been launched yet despite the adoption of the law. Could you please tell us if you see the threat in relation to the form of the declaration, some threats that are related to the proceedings in the Constitutional Court?
I certainly do. This is a very clear and very negative sign. I think that everyone, not only us but media and public, have to defend this new institution, which currently cannot stand on its own. I cannot say that this appeal is reasonable. That is why we and myself personally see no ground for Constitutional Court to give in to even one of their demands.
Head of this agency, Natalia Korchak, is unable to give the precise date when exactly her organization will be able to create an electronic declaration form, after which senior officials would have to refill out the last year's declarations according to new standards. She can give an approximate term, about half a year. How long this would take to your point of view? A month, half a year, 1 year?
Half a year.
It would take to approve?
Half a year. Well, not exactly 6 months, somewhere around that. Not a month or 2.
Around half a year to your point of view, right?
Half a year for the system to really start working and become reality.
At the Constitutional Court, they have not set the date for the hearing of this appeal of MPs. The decision has not been made yet. In general, it seems like both the members of the parliament and the judges of the Constitutional Court that are to consider the case have clear conflicts of interest that can potentially influence the final decision.